What's going on, boys? NealGuides here. Welcome back to another video. Now in today's video we're going to go over all the top tier meta passes that all the top tier players, the pro players are using co-op, and all the elite players are using right now. We're going to go through all the top tier passes that you need to know, and some that you probably didn't even know about and you may have even forgotten about. But before I get on to that, I just want to very quickly say that, of course, don't forget this year I am running my group coaching sessions exclusively on Gamers Academy. I run all my group coaching sessions on Tuesday 7 PM UK time. So if you want to get coached by me, you can come and join the Gamers Academy. Right now they've got a deal where you can basically get the first 7 days for absolutely free. So you can sign up and get coached by me this Tuesday 7 PM UK time. And that's when I run my coaching series. And I've got other coaches there, of course, other masterclasses series. And of course, the link is down below in the description if you want to get that deal. But let's go straight into the video. Okay, now let's go over the first one, the lofted through ball. A very much underused pass this year. I don't see this enough. I think because everyone is so obsessed with driven passes, they always forget this pass. One of the most useful passes, and the best part of this pass is it bubbles. Now don't forget, when it comes to passes this year, every pass like a lofted pass or a lob pass, anything that has some sort of height, it's harder for your opponent to defend. Why? Because this is a terrible drawing of at least the player. The ball bounces around knee height, and what that means is that it's harder for your opponent to get the ball. So when you make the pass, when you do a lofted pass, if there's ever a contention or there's a player in the way and you think that he's going to get the through ball, then make it a lofted through ball. All you got to do is double tap triangle. So for example, like here, I make the pass. Now another key thing people forget is the L1 trigger. When you make that pass, you do the 1-2, do any form of L1 trigger or 1-2 so that player makes a run. Then it's about timing. As you can see, Lucas is eventually going to run into this area. I don't know how he's going to get there, whether that's between these two players or around. So I play the double tap triangle or double tap Y, as you can see, the first one and the second one. A tiny bit of power, the game can assist you a little bit. And as you can see, the timing is imperative, but you see the ball bubbles. Even if you collected the ball off me, there is a big chance you wouldn't have got it. I just want to throw another very quick example. As you can see here, another situation, a player is making a run it behind. I see Lucas is making a run it behind, and I want to make a pass. Now, obviously, the inherent risk is, of course, this play. If the ball goes a bit too much this way, this player can get the ball. The ball goes too far that way, that player can get the ball. So there's two players essentially blocking the passing lane for either side to get the ball to Lucas. But you can see with a lofted through ball, you can see it bounces. As you can see, number one, it avoids the first play. As you can see, the first play, the animation is not there in the game to get the ball, whereas if it was on the ground, he could very quickly intercept that. And as you can see, the second player, even if he did switch them, it wouldn't have enough time. So perfect when you're trying to get the ball going through, and perfect as well to distribute the ball back in. As you can see, when I unfortunately missed a shot over there, but you can see the exact same thing. Watch when I get the ball, Lucas. Watch, I do a lofted pass this time. You see that? Not a normal pass, because I know if that's a regular pass, that player can intercept it. But with a lofted pass, the players don't switch all the time. And as you see, I get away with that. Unfortunately, the ball is deflected away. But don't forget, lofted through balls and lofted passes, the most effective passes, especially in the final third. Okay, so next up we're going to go over the driven pass. Now I want to say, just be very careful with this, because everyone has been just spamming driven passes left, right and center. It has its use case, and this use case should be like, if you, for example, see some on the radar, as you can see, for example, like here, I see a player on the radar that is completely free, then you use a driven pass. The problem is that everyone's just smashing driven passes left, right, and center. Now, if you use a driven pass here, there's no need. See, a regular pass is just enough. Now, what I would say is a lot of people, what they're doing when they're doing driven passes, they're doing driven passes. For example, like here, they'll use a driven pass, which like, let's say it's R1 plus X. But did you know you can actually press L1 plus R1 plus X, which makes it a 1-2 driven pass. So if you are going to be using driven passes and you want someone else to join the attack, use the L1 plus R1 plus X. So if you're on Xbox, LB plus RB plus A. That way you can do a 1-2 driven pass. For example, like here with Sun, you see I do a normal 1-2. Sun makes a run going forward, as so does Ben Yedder. So if you are going to be doing driven passes, make sure you do the 1-2 variation. And for example, in these situations, for example, like inside the box, you don't need to use driven passes. A regular passes will just suffice. Here I try to do a lofted pass, fortunately intercepted. But in those situations, you don't need to use driven pass all the time. Even like here. Okay, if for example you're far down here and there's a player in the way, I understand a reason. But you can see here, a regular pass is just fine. Don't forget, if you use a driven pass and you overuse it inside the box over here, you will lose the ball. And something else I want to say, after analyzing a lot of clips, people are using a driven pass so much, it's neglecting their attack where they're losing players, they're losing the ball too quickly. So only use a driven pass if there's a pass available and there's someone that's far away. A driven pass has more power on the ball, but if you're inside the box or you're building up, you have to just do regular 1-2s because a driven pass gets the ball from A to Z very, very quickly, okay? Once you're on A to Z, if you keep spamming driven passes, you're not going to have enough time to think. Jog with the ball, quick 1-2s, and don't run with the ball. That's the best. If there's one advice you're going to take away from this video, if you're struggling right now, stop jogging, stop running, stop using driven passes and do 1-2s. I promise you, come back to this video and you can write in the comment section, it will change the way that you play. Okay, next one we're going to go over is the lob through ball. I think I've gone through this a million times, but let's say if you do an L1 trigger, someone's making a run in behind one, the perfect thing to do is a lob through ball. Now remember, with this pass, it's an L1 plus triangle or LB plus Y. The trajectory is much higher. So the ball will be quicker on the ground, but the ball will be in the air. So if you're trying to make a pass someone in behind, let's say for example your player is a bit more further behind, an L1 triangle makes the ball go in the air. It goes over the top. It's hard to read, but also gives your player more time to run onto the ball. So for example, like here, I knew that Ronaldo was of course faster than Ruben Diaz. So you can see when the ball was played in the air, I played it just when Ronaldo was a bit further away. That gave me time to run onto it and then got onto the ball. It's very much the meta right now, the counter-attack meta, should I say. So don't forget the lob through balls. Perfect when you got a player running behind, and let's say for example you can't make a ground pass because there's multiple players in the way, or let's say for example if you want to make the pass across. So let's say for example if this player was making a run, I would do the exact same thing with the L1 triangle. Don't forget the lob through ball, L1 plus triangle. And then the last one we're going to go over is the driven through ball, one that I actually don't see that many players doing so much. Remember the butterfly wings? I've always told you, do a 1-2 down the wing with your left back, when your right back, use the left mid, the right mid, do a 1-2 to them to make a run in behind. The driven through ball is perfect to be used in the wing areas. Let's say for example like here, as you can see I got Lucas Moura running. As you can see, I'm going to move my camera for a second just so you can see this a bit more clearly. So I can see Lucas Moura making a run in behind. Now what I want to do is I want to make a pass to him. If I do a regular through ball, the ball wouldn't go as far enough where you can just switch to defender and basically run in front of me. But what a driven through ball does is it adds more velocity and vigor to the pass, I suppose you can say. So it adds a lot more power. So when you hold the R1 plus the triangle button, you end up doing a driven through ball. And this is perfect to be used down the wings. You don't want to be using this, I would say, centrally. You don't want to make a driven through ball like this unless there's clear and obvious space. That's pretty much obvious, but it's perfect to use this down the wing because it makes the pass on the outside. And as you can see, once the Lucas is being timed perfectly onside, I do, as you can see on the bottom left, a lot of power Ben Yedder, and the ball goes much further ahead. That means when I finally touch the ball, the player like Heung-min Son, he's then inside the box and it's easier for me to make the pass. Had this been a regular through ball, there is a big chance that, for example, the ball would have gone over here and he would have cut me off. But because it's driven through ball, I got space to run onto. And also during that time, because it takes me a long time to get to a ball, I can do the L1 trigger to allow Son to make the run going forward. And then I can basically make a driven cross into the box. And on that note, the driven cross, if you have a situation like this where there is a player running into the box and he is completely in the clear, the R1 plus square is a ground driven through, a ground driven cross, should I say. It does go through the defense, and depending on how far the player is, so if you got your crossing on semi, you can apply more power and the ball will go further away. But don't forget an R1 plus square. You can use a driven pass, but what I find is a driven pass, sometimes the pass just goes straight down to the player, and a driven through ball, the pass goes too far in front. So the driven pass, the benefit of having a driven cross is that it basically goes in the middle, and that's why I would say a driven cross for most situations where someone's running inside the box. Only when someone's running inside the box is the most identical thing, because it pushes the ball just in front of the player, but not so far ahead like a driven through ball. But anyway, that is of course the top meta passes. Thanks for watching, guys. Take it easy, and of course I'll catch you next one. Take it easy, boys.